Dear devotees and friends, we will study the Panchama Veda, the Gospel of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. Let us begin with this stotra. Tavo kathamritam tapta jivanam kabibhiriritam kalmashapaham sravana mangalam srimadatatam bhuvi grinanti e bhurida janaha. We were studying the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, English, page 741. And in Bengali, this is 790, the original Bengali book. And here we find that Sri Ramakrishna, he was appreciating a young man, the Choto Naren. Choto Naren means the junior Naren, and because he was not having any attitude for the world, attachment for the world. That is, Sri Ramakrishna was very much appreciating. At this young age, he's not having any attention to physical comfort. His mind is so pure. So he was telling what a subtle mind he has. He was understanding the spiritual instructions. Sometimes when you talk about the spirituality, talk about religion, the many people, they do not understand it clearly. What is this? Why is this? They always jumble up. But this junior Naren, he was understanding it so clearly and very smart about that. So Sri Ramakrishna was very happy. He was appreciating him. And he said, renunciation of lust and gold from boyhood, amazing indeed. So to realize the Brahman, to realize God, the Indian, the tradition, it always insists on celibacy. That you have to practice celibacy. Otherwise, if the mind is bogged in the lust and naturally to satisfy that desire, you need money, the wealth. So Sri Ramakrishna coined it as lust and gold. If the mind is there, one cannot make the mind purified. So what is that lust? It says in the Mahabharata, describing it, there is a vein called Monobhaha, a sympathetic nerve, Monobhaha. The mind, when thought about the sex, irritate this nerve, and that's all. So this is a sensation, a little feeling. And think of it, millions and millions of people, only because of that little sensation, they're bogged down and they're bound. But if we can overcome that, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is suggesting, if we can overcome that, then we get much, much more joy, happiness. There's a pouring out from every, the root of the Sri Ramakrishna describes in the body, all this that is standing on that every root will give you the joy. So that we have to understand. Of course, those who are sincere, if they want to realize God, if they want to realize the Brahman, the Atman, if they like to go beyond the circle of birth and death, the only thing is attachment to the worldly objects. That is one. And the root of the attachment is this one. So that is the why Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is suggesting. If one can overcome only this feeling, and then he is free. But how one can practice this? Manu Maharaj and the Manu Samhita, he said, the mind is the 11th instrument or indriya. The sense, we know the 10 sense organs are there, 5 gyanendriya, the organs of this knowledge, and 5 karmendriya. The karmendriyas, they are actually working at the behest of the gyanendriya or the mind. Manu is telling this is the 11th one is the mind. The 5 gyanendriya plus 5 karmendriya, total 10. 11th one is the mind, and that is the root. It is a desire that comes in the mind, and we start imagining that this is so joyful, it is so good, and we cannot go above that. And after some time, people get disgusted, then they will separate, or sometime very bad things happen, killing and all those things, and sometimes committing suicide. But then again, they are going for the same thing, only thinking, or maybe if I change the person, I will get the joy. That's such a great mistake. The Manu Samhita, it says, Ikadasham Manogiyam. The mind should be known, counted as the 11th one. Sagunena Bhayatmakam Yashmin Jite Jita Beto Bhavata Panchako Gano. As the Manu Samhita, 2nd by 92, it mentioned this. If you can control the mind, then you can control the sense organs. Because mind is first thinking and then instigating the sense organs. But how the mind gets that? The eye goes out, sees something, brings back that picture to the mind. Mind then imagine, oh, this is a wonderful thing. If I can get that, I will get joy. So that is the way. Sometimes the hearing, we hear about that and we think that it is a wonderful thing. When the people that we are young, the different type of stories we'll hear, and then we just develop imaginative relationship, and we think, oh, that will give me a great joy. And it is in the nature, of course, you have to fight against the nature. And in the mind at that time, when the body is changing, all those thoughts are coming. If from the childhood, this type of teachings are there, and the mind gets trained to realize God, then it is possible. So it is the mind. According to the Manu, one must be careful, because that is the cause of bondage. Once we step into that, it takes us going on. But is it only those who are practicing this brahmacharya, they will realize God? No, not like that. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna said that if you have already married, then it is no problem. You should practice as a grihastha, whatever the religious practices are there, you must practice that, and slowly you will overcome. And after 1 or 2 children, you just as a friend, as a brother and sister, you live, and both of you should be dedicated to God, constantly praying, and by that way also one can realize God. And this he is talking about the junior Naren, whom we referred just now, and then we are discussing how to control this passion, the tremendous passion. We have to control this, those who want to control. How the Manu Maharaj said, you have to control the mind, because mind is the root cause, and other things are only instigating. And when you see a movie, we see those things, and then we get irritated and then excited. All this comes in the mind only first. And after the mind, it goes to back to the body, and the sensation, we think that is the greatest joy. Wrong. So this is called spiritual training. And afterwards, Yoga Vasishta, he is also mentioning in the same way, it says, you have to, Yoga Vasishta is teaches through the path of knowledge. So obviously, it says, whenever the desire is coming, immediately, with the rod of discrimination, you have to beat it. And then only it will go away. Rod of discrimination. The discrimination, what is the discrimination? So this is only very temporary thing, and I am going to be bound for whole life, life after life. It is not necessary. So that discrimination, every time the desire is coming, every time his mind is trying to think about those things, immediately you have to stop the mind beating as if with the rod of discrimination. It says, Viveka dandena hanyat. Viveka dandena. Danda means this stick. Viveka danda is a stick of discrimination. Hanyat, you must beat those, destroy those thoughts. Indriyadin punah punaha, again and again. That is another way. Manu Maharaj is saying that the mind is the root cause. Be very careful about it. Whenever the thought is coming, you should have to control. And this is very specifically the Guru Vasishta is mentioning that you must discriminate. You know that this is very temporary. And once I step into that, I am going to be bound life after life. Be careful about it. Whenever that thought is coming, you have to beat it with the stick of the viveka, the discrimination. Daksha, he is mentioning, is also the same way he said, that march the senses into the mind, and then mind into the Atman. The senses into the mind. What are the senses? Mainly the Jnanendriyas, the five, the sense organs of the knowledge. So when I see something, immediately, if it is something which is irritating me, stop it, don't see it. Hearing also, the smell also, the touch also. How? I go to the mind and then I merge it into the mind. And that, the Vaishnavas and the Tantrikas and the other traditions, they say, you better take the name of God. So japa. Whenever the other thoughts are coming, worldly thoughts are coming, attractions are coming, immediately take it back to the mind. How it is possible to taking back to the mind? By taking the name of God. So the Daksha is telling, Manaste vendriyanam manaschatmani yojayet. The Indriya, you must merge into the mind. The Indriyas means all this information that is coming, you must merge it into the mind. And then mind into the Atman. And then mind is thinking about the God, the Lord, the light, the Brahman, the all-pervasive consciousness. Then you forget about all those small little things. So that is another way. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, almost in the same way, but more simple way, he is telling, you better clap and sing the name of God. Whenever the waves are coming into your mind, immediately clap and then loudly sing the name of Lord. It will be over. But somehow or other, we have to be free from the desire of lust and then gold. So then only it is possible to purify the mind. What is the purity? Again and again we have discussed. Purity are those thoughts which think about God, as the Brahman, the Atman, the consciousness. What is impurity? Those thoughts which always think about the worldly things which are all temporary and thinking those as permanent. When we are thinking that the world is permanent. I am going to construct this, I am going to purchase this, I am going to have this, and I am going to enjoy this all through my life, and I am eternal. That is the wrong thing. And there we are making the mistake. So this is the Hinduism again and again try to teach that you better do in this way. In the Upanishad, Isha Upanishad, we find Ishavashyamidam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat. So when they are giving this type of teaching, the morality and these practices, don't eat others, don't kill others, don't cheat others, all those moralities are over. Now they have accepted you as a spiritual aspirant, and you have already chastised, you have already purified your mind, and you have come to that level, and then they are guiding you to see everything as the consciousness. Ishavashyamidam. In the second verse, it says, suppose you cannot, well then work. But how you should work? With detachment. And how you can become detached? When you are concerned, when you are fully aware, this whatever I am doing are all temporary. Then only you can work without any attachment. This is 100 years you live, enjoy your life, no problem, but completely in a detached way. The second words in the Isha Upanishad it mentioned. Anyway, this is the discussion I was thinking that we should have, because some of the people, the young people, they like to know about the brahmacharya and how it is possible. Only the desire has to be controlled. And how it can be controlled? Mind. A mind, when it sees, when it hears, when it touches, all those gives the impression. Then there is an imagination. We hear from others, and that imagination irritates our mind, excites our mind, our thoughts, and we think this is a great joy. Friends, that is none. Actually, it is not. So that if we understand, then from there we can try again and again to purify our mind. So Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, he is telling, there are people who during their youth committed many sins. But we have to understand, the sins means which were not permitted by the scripture. When a husband and wife, they are married, it is no sin. But otherwise, that is a sin. Sin means it's a very wrong thing that they are doing, and the implication on the society will be very bad. That's why it is said it is a sin. And there are people who during their youth committed many sins, but in old age chant the name of God. Well, that is better than nothing. The mother of a certain Malik, who belonged to a very noble family, asked me if prostitutes would ever be saved. She herself had led that kind of life. That is why she asked the question. I said, yes, they too will be saved, if only they cry to God with a yearning heart and promise not to repeat their sins. So this is the beauty of the Hinduism. Each and every one, because it is the mind. Whenever the mind thinks that I am going to God, I am trying to realize God, I am trying to know my Atman, immediately from then, at that point, they can start the journey towards the spirituality. How? By taking the name of God and then not repeating all those mistakes that they have committed. What will the mere chanting of Hari's name accomplish? One must weep sincerely. This is Sri Ramakrishna, always positive. And he gives the teaching so simple. Oh, no, it is okay, you continue, that's all wrong. If you think that you will realize God, then you have to understand the God and his creation are completely two different things. And the creation, there are attractions. That is the Maya. And if you are bound by the attractions, if you are liking those attractions, then you can never reach to the God. This is very clear. No ambiguity. Oh, no, you can enjoy this and you can enjoy the God also. Nothing like that. Many people, they say like that, but it cannot be. Jahan Ram, tahan nahi Kam. Jahan Kam, tahan nahi Ram. It is very clear. Where is God, there is no world. And when there is world, the desire of the world, the enjoyment of the world, there is no God. Whatever you like, you can do. There is no force. I like to enjoy the world. Enjoy the world. Then the sufferings will be there. That time also you have to suffer. It will go on like this. But when the time will come and you will understand all these temporary things, and I have had enough of it. Now let me go back to my own abode. Come. And there the Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna will say, it is possible, withdraw the mind from the sense objects and give it to God. And whenever there will be a pull, it is not in one, just to came and took initiation and took the name of God, repeating sometimes, and I am becoming pure. Not like that. It's a long journey, because so many times we have poured all those things, desires on our mind. We have to remove that. So when we can remove those, and when the mind becomes completely free from those, then it becomes purified. The kirtan began to the accompaniment of drum and cymbals. The singer was a professional. He sang about Sri Gauranga's initiation as a monk by Keshav Bharati. Keshav Bharati, this Bharati, then all this, there are 10 different surnames are there, titles are there, and that is called Dasanami Sampradaya. In the Hindu monastic life, the 10 different schools are there. The Puri, Bharati, Nadi, this is called Bharati. They also follow the same way, the Puri, the Shankara's path. So his guru was Keshav Bharati, and by Keshav Bharati he is getting that. Oh, what a vision I have beheld in Keshav Bharati's heart. Gora in all his matchless grace, shedding tears in 1,000 streams. This is a song, and this is called Kirtan. This Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, they slowly develop that. It's a beautiful way, the expressing the emotion in the life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So whatever happened, they are depicting that, singing that, expressing those, and as if that he is taking the sannyas and cutting the bonds of this world and going away. So they are crying, but this is not that why he should become monk. Not like that. It is a great joy that someone is cutting the bondage and going to be free. The Sri Ramakrishna, remembering that, is the freedom. Swami Vivekananda again and again said, freedom, freedom, freedom. Freedom is the song of the soul, song of the soul. So we like to be free. So naturally, that because of that desire, we want to be free, and free in every respect. In a society, if we see the people are fighting to get political freedom, economical freedom, and then many other freedoms, so we don't like any bondages. One should not impose on us. And ultimately it goes to the spiritual freedom. Now what is the spiritual freedom? All these desires that is binding me, it is me only. No one else is doing it. It's all subjective. I am having my own desire and I have to fight against my desires. I have to give up my desires and I have to be free. And how it is possible? Some examples. Who are those examples? Lord Buddha. He was a king and is giving up everything and going for the freedom. And the scholar, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was so highly respected in the society. Now, giving up everything, he is going for the freedom. So the freedom that he is enjoying. Sri Ramakrishna went into ecstasy when he heard the song. The musician sang again, describing the suffering of a milkmaid of Vrindavan. At her separation from Sri Krishna, she was seeking her Krishna in the Madhavi. And they are creepers as all the songs. That young lady, she is coming and searching for her beloved. They are worshipping God as the beloved. And she is telling, oh, you, the creeper, the flower, you are so beautiful. You must have hidden and taken away my Krishna. Give it back to me, and I will become your slave. So they go on singing, oh Madhavi, give me back my sweet one. Now and then Sri Ramakrishna sang with the musicians, improvising lines. How far from here is Mathura, where dwells the beloved of my soul? So, the friends, this is very special for the Bengali songs. And a song is there. Then those who are singing, sometimes they will join a few words, maybe one or two lines, to improve that idea. And they will sing it. So one lady is going in quest of Sri Krishna, and she was full of love. And then when she saw the flowers, she is asking those flowers, can you please give me back my Krishna? Maybe Krishna, you are hiding the Krishna. And like that. Sri Ramakrishna adding, how far is the Mathura? Mathura is the place where Krishna is to live. The Vrindavan and Mathura, the twin city, very close. From Vrindavan, one can go to Mathura, as a place in northern India. So Sri Ramakrishna is using that. Sri Ramakrishna went into Samadhi. When singing, went into Samadhi. What is this Samadhi? He forgot all around that he is actually singing. But his mind transported into that place or time about which the song is composed, about the Krishna and the milkmaids and all there. So he's completely transported into that, and he merged into that thought, forgetting all this, the present time. So it is in the Samadhi. His body was motionless. He remained in that state a long time. Unless and until we practice meditation, and sometimes by the grace of God and with our sincere effort, if we sometime go into that particular condition where the body consciousness goes away, and then we can imagine what is this Samadhi. Completely forgetting the time and the space and the body, everything they forget, and goes into that condition about which the mind is thinking. This is the Samadhi, is so rare and so difficult, and it was so normal for Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. Not that as because we are the followers of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, I am telling like this, but this is really, really very rare. When you read the biographies of other great sages and saints, we find they're great. But Sri Ramakrishna was unique. He was just this moment, he was talking with people, singing with people, dancing with people, and cutting jokes. And suddenly his mind will go into the trance and that supreme condition. So as if just coming down and going up. Sometimes it has been described in that way, as a coming down and going up, or changing from this room to that room. But those who are practicing meditation, they know it is so difficult to control the mind. Someday the mind will become little quiet, and most of the day it is constantly taking me to different places, different thoughts, different ideas. It goes on. It is so difficult. Whole life people are going on fighting with their own minds. And for Sri Ramakrishna, it is so easy. But that is why he's so great. Because he could control his mind any moment, any time. Gradually, he came down. Now, the word they are using, came down to the consciousness of the outer world. So, otherwise, how to express? Going up and coming down, as if we can understand something happened, and the moment we think about the spirituality or the God or the heaven, automatically, because of the many years of the human thought, mind goes up. Or if we like to show where is the heaven, we always show above. But where it goes nowhere. It merges everywhere. It just merges and goes to everywhere, the consciousness everywhere. There is no name, there is no form. That is the condition. And from there again there comes to collected mind. And what happened? Names and forms. So formlessness and with form condition. When we are with the Jagat, with this universe, it is name and form only. And when you go beyond that name and form, it is only consciousness. Unless one has realized that, experienced that, it is difficult to express in words or in any way. But what is the yardstick that we will understand that person went into that consciousness state? Joy. It's full of joy. And he forgets of all around things. So Sri Ramakrishna, gradually he came down to the consciousness of the outer world. Still, in a spiritual mood, he began to talk, sometimes addressing the devotees, sometimes the Divine Mother. So sometimes he is talking with the devotees, and sometimes he is talking with the Divine Mother, as if standing on the threshold, and the Divine Mother inside the room, and the devotees outside the room. He is a bridge between the Jivatma and the Paramatma. And a beautiful expression I think in the Shvetashadra Upanishad it is there, Amritasya Setu. It is the bridge. And we find no other one in the history of the spirituality, in the religion, in this way. Is standing in between the worldly people with the name and form, and also the formless God. And he is communicating. The Master Mahashaya, very nicely he is mentioning, he is sometimes addressing the devotees, that means in the names and forms, and sometimes the Divine Mother, the formless consciousness. Master, Mother, please attract him to thee. This is the topic of today. The same God is so compassionate. He himself is praying for the devotee. But we don't understand who is that devotee for whom he is praying. Praying to the Divine Mother. Please attract him to thee. But in the next line we find he is talking with the Girish. You utter many abusive and vulgar words, but that doesn't matter. It is better for these things to come out. There are some people who fall ill on account of blood poisoning. The more the poisoned blood finds an outlet, the better it is for them. At the time when the upadhi of a man is being destroyed, it makes a loud noise, as it were. Wood crackles when it burns, and there is no more noise when the burning is over. Friends, the beautiful example, so we can think that he was praying for the Girish Chandra Ghosh. The Girish Ghosh had the one quality about which Sri Ramakrishna said again and again, the faith. He had a great faith on the Sri Ramakrishna, and 100% he used to think that this is the God in human form. When that faith is there, obviously the God says, you have gained everything. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna in Bengali, he said, Bishwash holo to sab hoye gelo. If you have faith, then you have gained everything. What is the faith? There is God, and God can be realized. God is all merciful like Mother, and God is all powerful, and God is my goal. So this way, if one is thinking, then obviously his focus will be only on God, and whatever he does here and there, it's no problem. Girish Ghosh, as because he was a dramatist and used to work in the drama, composing drama and all this. So naturally, he had the habit of use some abusive languages, and he used to drink, and after that, he lose control over the mind. He used to abuse and each and everyone like that. The people used to shun him. But Sri Ramakrishna, who could see the mind of the people, not the apparent behavior, what actually the thought is there at the base of the mind, the God. Naturally, he could see that, he could feel that. So he is telling, apparently, all those abusive words that you are telling, it's good. So let it go out. And then from the bottom of your mind, the pure thoughts will come up. And Sri Ramakrishna, I think he is praying for him. Mother, please attract him to thee. I cannot worry about him any more. My mind is inclined too little to your brother-in-law. He is telling him, Master Mashaya. And he is indicating about another person. So those different type of people are coming. Sri Ramakrishna could understand what is their condition, mental condition, those who are very much bogged into that desire, the carnal desire, and constantly thinking about all those physical things. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, okay, it is okay. But for those who had the desire to realize God, he used to be very happy. And the Supreme Lord, who has taken the human form, this is his mission, only to rise the mind of the human being and guiding them towards the God. The more the mind is in the world, the more it is suffering. More it is free from the world, more it is enjoying. And what do you want? Enjoyment, the bliss, eternal. So the God is guiding us. He is the goal, and he is the guide, and he is the path. So he is telling what you should do. You should clap your hand and sing the name of God and constantly pray to God. That is the path. And he is the guide. And where we are going to go? To him only, who has taken the human form as Sri Ramakrishna. But when you go over there, if we like to see him in that form, we can. Or otherwise we can see that all-pervading consciousness. Both are possible. Here, as a wonderful teacher, he is guiding us and also praying for the betterment of these people. You will be purer day by day. You will improve very much day by day. People will marvel at you. It truly happened. The Girish Chandra Ghosh, though he was very famous and he was wealthy and he had some status in the society, but people truly, and on his face no one used to say anything, but at his back they used to criticize him because of his peculiar behavior. He was a drunkard and so used the abusive word, and the way he used to live, that was not appreciated. But Sri Ramakrishna is telling that slowly, slowly he will change and people will marvel. That is the miracle. At the time of Sri Ramachandra, he had to kill Ravana because the devil. At the time of Sri Krishna, he had to punish all those bad people. And that Rama and Krishna, they merged together, came in the form of Sri Ramakrishna. He need not to kill anyone, but transforming the attitude, the mind, the thought. And that unique example is Girish Chandra Ghosh. Those who are interested, they can read the biography of Girish Chandra Ghosh, and we can understand how the transformation is coming. The religion is completely changing the mind. Religion is realization. Realization of what? That I am divine. And why unnecessarily I am belittle myself and going for some little this and that thing. Jagote Sharbada Datar Ashan Grahan Karibe, Swami Vivekananda said. You must take the position of a giver in this world. Don't ever stretch your hand to receive. Always put your hand to give, said Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. Give love, give service, give whatever you have. Don't expect anything in return. That is the position. Why? This world cannot give anything. It's so selfish. And suppose you are helping someone constantly. One time you fail to help, that person will go on remembering that particular one, time when you could not help. But 99 times you have helped, you'll forget. This is war. So you cannot expect from this world anything. And if you expect the suffering, when you are helping, after that, forget about it. After giving something, you go on remembering and reminding, unnecessarily creating problem for yourself and problem for others. Because you are not going to get anything from this world. Because this is all temporary and made of all selfishness. But if we just understand this and cross over that as if crossing over that particular condition, then full of joy. Give whatever you have and don't expect anything in return. How it is possible? We are understanding is very clear. This world is temporary. In every page of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, he is teaching Tyaga, Tyaga, Tyaga. Give up, give up, give up. So when someone asked Ma Sharadamani Devi, what was the main intention of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, main message of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna? She very clearly and categorically, she said, it is the Tyaga, it is the renunciation. And how it is possible to renounce? By renouncing the ego. All these things that we are attached, how? I want that. I have to go over there. I have to hold that. So I is there. That is the pivotal point. if you just break that I, then it becomes the supreme. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, wonderfully in his own life, we are getting all this. Very clearly he is mentioning, my mother, please attract him to thee. Then he said, you will be purer day by day. You will improve very much day by day. People will marvel at you. I may not come many more times, but that doesn't matter. You will succeed by yourself. The master's spiritual mood became very intense. Again he talked to the Divine Mother. Mother, what credit is there in making a man good who is already good? The Girish Chandra Ghosh, he is actually praying for Girish and making a complete transformation from Girish, and that we can say the greatest miracle. He did in many other places, people. That is the miracle, that is the power of God. The transformation, not killing the person, abolishing the person. Oh, you are not following my path, then you are dead. No, nothing like that. Transformation, the mind is getting the change. And the bad person, so-called bad person, becomes a good person just because he started thinking in the right way. That's all. Mother, what credit is there in making a man good who is already good? O Mother, what wilt thou accomplish by killing one who is already dead? Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning, only if thou can kill a person who is still standing erect, then thou shalt get the glory. This is the way she is telling. Sri Ramakrishna, he is helping those people. This is a very clear indication that Sri Ramakrishna, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, he has come for those people who are really very, very backward spiritually. And he is helping them. How he is helping? Just he is mentioning, take the name of God sincerely and cry for that, God's grace. Just cry for God's grace. And you will be completely transformed. Girish Chandra is a living example. Sri Ramakrishna remained silent a few moments. Suddenly he said in a slightly raised voice, I have come from Dakshineshwar. I am going, Mother. He is talking with the Divine Mother. And he is trying to remember. So these are the indications when the Sri Ramakrishna is talking with the ordinary people. Even then, that moment, his mind was merged with the Supreme. At that moment, the people don't understand the tremendous power that the God is manifesting in the form of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. Juga Avatara, Avatara Varishtaya. Swami Vivekananda mentioning again and again is the Avatara Varishtaya. Tremendous power he is mentioning. Those who have any idea about the spirituality, they will understand it, appreciate it. And those who are thinking spirituality means some miracle, well, that they think in a different way. But this is completely different. When the Sri Krishna, he delivered the Bhagavad Gita, all the 700 verses, to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Then the Arjuna, under the guidance of the Krishna, he fought and all those things. After that, when the war was over, everything got settled, Arjuna told Krishna, I was enjoying those teachings that you gave on the battlefield. Will you please repeat those to me again? Then the Lord Krishna said, at that moment I was Yoga Yukta. I was united with the Supreme Self. I don't think I will be able to say again. So these are the moments when even the personality like Krishna is mentioning, I have to go back, then only I can tell you. But yes, Sri Ramakrishna, one step is with the people, the worldly people. Next step, he is in the Supreme. Can you imagine? So that is the greatness of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. And whatever the knowledge that he is giving, of course, there are many other teachings are there, which the direct disciples in different times they used to go and they imbibe those, and afterwards they expressed. Some of them they expressed, some of them they not. And mainly Swami Vivekananda also mentioned that because Vivekananda, Sri Ramakrishna is to teach him secretly, separately, how to bring down the truth of Vedanta into the practice. That's the unique thing this time it has happened. The practical Vedanta. Each and every soul is nothing but the divine, but we do not understand that. So we have to understand that how? By eradicating the ego and establishing the self-confidence. The self-confidence is there. I can realize God. I can do this. So tremendous pull is there from the world, the name and form, and the Maya, the tremendous power of God. And I am going against that because I can do it. In reality, I am that Supreme Brahman. So that's self-confidence. And Sri Ramakrishna introducing that and mentioning, if you are going and helping others, whoever doing good, go and stand by their side and help them. And you will get that spiritual benefit. So, different way, the whatever Swami Vivekananda introduced is nothing but the instructions of Sri Ramakrishna. But Master Mahashaya, who was a householder, when he used to visit Sri Ramakrishna, in those days and at that time, whatever happened, that he has recorded, and we are so grateful to the Master Mahashaya, the great soul. And because of those, we are getting it directly. It is not that immediately after the death of Sri Ramakrishna, when he passed away, within few years, this book was published. When Ma Sharada Mani Devi was there, all the direct disciples were there, the Girish Chandra Ghosh, all were there. So whatever he has mentioned, they also went through, they read. And everyone said, yes, it truly happened like that. So this is a real history. Master Mahashaya never imagined, and then his own thought he put into the mouth of Sri Ramakrishna. No, not like that. This is a unique scripture. And what he says again and again, you are divine. And in his life, he's demonstrating. He's talking with us. And now he's telling, I'm coming back, Mother, oh Mother. As I have come from Dakshineshwar, I'm going, Mother. He's trying to remember Dakshineshwar, a place, a time, a name, a form. And then he is again telling Mother that supreme consciousness in the form of Mother in Dakshineshwar. It was as if a child had heard the call of its mother from a distance and was responding to it. Master Mahashaya, as the way the Sri Ramakrishna was behaving, Master Mahashaya was amused. And he was wondering, naturally we have seen the children sometimes when they are playing outside, the mothers from their home, from the window, they will call, and by their name immediately they will say, I'm coming back, Mother. The Sri Ramakrishna also thinking like that, saying like that, Mother from distance, and was responding to it. He again became motionless, absorbed in samadhi. The devotees looked at him with unwinking eyes. Still in an ecstatic mood, he said, "I shall not eat any more luchi." At this point, a few Vaishnavas, priests, who had come from the neighborhood, left the place. The Sri Ramakrishna, they could not understand how he is behaving. Master understood. So that needs the purity of mind. Otherwise, people always think that spirituality means about food, spirituality means about dress, spirituality means about this type of behavior. It is all external. Spirituality means very original, the way to understand the consciousness. They never bother about the world. It is the truth. And as Swami Vivekananda said, truth never pays any homage to the society. It is the truth that we are the divine. I don't care. When the Sri Ramakrishna went in that mood, he is never caring whether people are looking at him or not, or what they will think. This is so original way he was behaving. And blessed are those who could truly understand that. But unfortunate, some people, they could not understand that. They left. The Master Maharshi meant at this point, when he talked about the food, then these people, they got up and went away. Till today, many are there. They think about the food is the main thing, and that should be like this and that. It's all hypocrisy. Because it is mind only. Of course, there's sometimes they say about the food that when you are eating, that is, but that is very, very rare. When you are controlled, taking a little that thing is not having any effect on your mind. The mind is the main thing, not the body. In the mind, nothing is happening. Sri Ramakrishna, he is mentioning that, "I shall not eat any more luchi." At this point, a few Vaishnava priests who had come from the neighborhood left. Sri Ramakrishna began to talk with his devotee in a very joyous spirit. It was the month of April and the day was very sultry. Devendra had made ice cream. He offered it to Master and the devotees. Aim said in a low voice, "Encore, encore," because they all loved that ice cream. The devotees laughed. At the sight of the ice cream, Sri Ramakrishna was happy as a child. The two different type of pictures the Master Maharshi has drawn. The Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning, the kirtan was very nice. The song described beautifully the gopi state of mind. A devotee pointing to another devotee said, "He has the attitude of the gopis." About the Sri Ramakrishna, they were discussing. Attitude of the gopis, that means the love. Ramchandra Datta, he immediately mentioned, no, he has both. The attitude of a tender love and the attitude of austere knowledge. Jnana Bhakti Samannaya. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, he was the embodiment of all paths. Friend, I think I should stop over here, and in the next class we will discuss. So today we have learned that to realize God, we have to withdraw our mind from these worldly enjoyments. And the more and more we can do that, the more and more mind become purified. The more we withdraw our mind from the world, and we are attached to so many little things. Why that person is not talking to me? Why they are not giving me the honor? Why this is happening? Why all the time? And it is crowded. Forget about all those. The world is like this. Some people may praise, some people may criticize, some people may help, some people may object. Thing goes on like that. That is all temporary things. Whatever is the permanent, that is God. So we have to withdraw the mind from all those and put to God. And the moment we can do that, it is only joy, joy, and joy. And when we try that, the Sri Ramakrishna's prayer is always with us. It is not only Girish, it is with us too. The Mother, the Supreme, the primordial power, she will help us. Thank you, friends. Then let me see if there is any question, then I'll try to answer.
The first question is from Aditi Majumdar. He is asking, we the common people cannot tyaga even in our mind. Please guide us how we can do it.
Friend, that you have just heard that whether we can do the tyaga or not, renunciation or not, but we can pray. If we have the faith in the Lord, then just pray. So I cannot do it this moment. It's so difficult for me. I am completely attached with all this. Please help me, O God. And as we call lovingly Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna as Thakur, O Thakur, please help me. And you will find slowly, as Girish Ghosh was chastised, Girish Ghosh was completely transformed by his grace and with his help, with his blessing. One day, we will also be able to give up all those desires. He himself will make it. So just pray. Thank you.
Devashish is asking how to handle a situation where people around us are talking negative always, will never change themselves, but we cannot live without them.
So, of course, this is a very challenging, but as they say, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna said, when you are with some people, just say hello to them, but internally you know they are not anyone to me. It is only God and me. Try to avoid as maximum possible those companies, and when you are bound to be with them, pray to God and say, God, can you please change their mind, change their thought, or at least give me an opportunity to go to those people and the place where I can truly develop my love for you. Again, as I was telling in the first question, the answer will be the prayer, and prayer. Please talk to God. As you are writing the question and asking me, same way, talk to Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. I want to be good, but this is the situation. Can you please help me? If they are very close, even then we know all are temporary. Before birth, we never knew them. After death, we will not knowing them, that what is going to happen to them, we don't know. So obviously, it is the eternal is the God. If you have that faith, please pray. And prayer is very powerful. Thank you.
Harsharaj is asking, Thakur emphasized that Brahman and Shakti are inseparable. Then shouldn't we refer the transcendental as Satya, Jnanam, Anantam, Chitta, or infinite existent consciousness will?
The Shakti, that the power, when the Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning, it is that God power, they are inseparable. That is true. Because God is acting through the Shakti. But the Shakti binding us, it is a God's power. And it is always with God. The Maya, when we mention. But the Maya is binding us. We have to go to God for the help, not with the Maya. If we are thinking the Prakriti as because it is inseparable with the God, but the Prakriti is the creation, as it call it, Leela. In the next day we will discuss about Nitya and Leela. The Nitya is the God. We have to go to God, which is eternal, which never changes. But the Leela, with the power of that God that is called Maya, the Prakriti, that is not true. So obviously, if we accept the Prakriti as true, that will be a great mistake. But if in the other way we think everything is nothing but God, of course that is there. That is the Vedantic way of thinking. Instead of avoiding, why don't you change it in a positive way? Each thing that we see is nothing but the same consciousness manifested. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna himself said, if you can see God by closing your eyes, can't you see God with open eyes? Of course you can, but it's completely different, the viewpoint. It's a completely Vedantic viewpoint. Of course you can do that if you have that type of temperament. Thank you.
Here's a follow-up question. Manifestation of will are objects in consciousness, but will is never an object. Rather it is inseparable to consciousness. Then how can traditional Advaita put Ishvara as Vajraharika? Is it just illogical?
Ishvara?
Manifestation of will are objects in consciousness.
Can you please write to me? Then that will be better. That understanding. So you are asking some philosophical question. I appreciate that.
Email.
You can better write to me in my email. Then we'll try to give you the answer. As because time is short, we cannot go like that. Any other questions? So thank you, friends. Let us chant this mantra and we conclude. Niranjanam nityam anantarupam bhaktanukampa dhrita vigraham vai Ishavataram parameshamidyam tam Ramakrishnam Shirasa Namamaha. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.